Listen, this is a really hard video for me to make, but I think it's finally time to speak up. Fortnite is actually dying. Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today I want to share my thoughts on the current state of Fortnite esports, pro players continuing to quit the game, the impact that I think VALORANT will have on Fortnite, and my honest opinions about Epic Games and why I truly believe that the game is dying. This channel has always been about my opinions and perspectives based on my years of experience in esports, but I do try my best to pair my complaints with ideas and potential solutions, so I'll be telling you guys exactly what I think needs to happen if Epic wants to save Fortnite at the end of the video. Stick around, you don't want to miss it. So let's just jump right in. Now, I've been the first to tell you guys over and over that I didn't actually think that Fortnite was dying, that the game would be fine even during so many slumps and lows we've seen with the game over the years. I've come from game communities where the games literally died, servers were shut down, and game developers lost their jobs. The games will never be played again. And while I do truly think Fortnite is dying, I fear that it's on a disturbingly slow burn. To keep it simple, I think that Fortnite has always been a bit of an anomaly. Epic Games created Save the World and randomly decided to jump in on the hype train of battle royales to suddenly find themselves at the top of the gaming and esports world by accident. They never planned for this success, and it just means to me that they couldn't possibly have had an amazing plan for battle royale from the start. They were learning as time passed, and for quite a while everything was great, but I will never forget this blog post from Epic Games back in Season X. Fortnite and the Brute. In quotations, they say this: the mission of Fortnite is to bring players of all skill levels together to have a fun experience where anyone can win. At this point, we already knew that Epic Games wasn't the best when it came to competitive balance and competitive integrity. We dealt with the Infinity Blade during Winter Royale and the planes prior to Season 10. This post was the full admission from Epic Games that they had zero intentions of running a top-down esport where the focus was to reward the best competitive players rather than to provide an opportunity for everyone to compete and win. Fast forward to now, we have no patch notes, terrible competitive balance, split prize pools on every platform, and absolutely zero communication from Epic Games. Now, I could go on and on about how terrible the performance of the game has been since the implementation of the chaos physics systems, but to be completely honest, that's just one more complaint added on top of the pile. We are dealing with a developer that is burdened by its competitive scene, and it's time we accept that regardless of what we say or do, they will never trade their anyone can win philosophy for a competitively focused mentality. I feel truly broken by Epic. I have said time and time again just how great Fortnite esports can be, but it's just too abundantly clear that these are not mistakes, but that Epic Games has chosen this by design. To restate my point more boldly, Epic Games does not want Fortnite to be an esport. Last week we talked about the long list of pro players who announced their leave from competitive Fortnite, and since then there have only been more. By now I'm sure that you've seen the news that Psalm, the second place winner from the Fortnite World Cup, has announced that he will be leaving the game to pursue a professional career in VALORANT. First and foremost, as a fan of Psalm's, I want to wish him nothing but the best with his future endeavors. Not many of you know, but for a brief time I was actually scrimming and competing in Heroes of the Storm, where I used to watch Psalm play at the top of the pro scene. In my opinion, this is the biggest loss the Fortnite pro scene has suffered, and it definitely won't be the last. On the last episode of Hotline FN, Bumpa had a really good explanation of how to keep a competitive scene alive. Let's go ahead and roll it.
I see it all the time, like, oh, these guys are quitting. It's just because they're washed. When, well, yes, like, they could be washed in one sense, but like, I don't know about you, like, I'm not placing amazing, you know, I've never placed fucking amazing, but the thing that keeps me playing the game is I loved playing the game competitively. This season has really sort of killed my vibe a lot, but last season, like, it wasn't like I was placing amazing. I placed in one damn cash cup last season. I made money in one fucking cash cup last season. But I loved the meta, and I genuinely loved it's like Counter-Strike. I was never close to going pro in Counter-Strike, but I loved playing Counter-Strike competitively. I loved playing Counter-Strike competitively. The thing that like holds viewer bases isn't like, oh, the thing that should hold a competitive community should not be, oh, I can go pro in this game and I can make money. The thing that should, the glue that should hold a competitive community together should be the love for playing the game competitively. That's the way you make the strongest competitive communities. It's why I was playing MG matchmaking in Counter-Strike today that I'm not even taking seriously, because there's a joke, and I've got this guy on my team who's trying to IGL me. Like, that guy loves competitive Counter-Strike. Yeah. With all his heart, even though he'll never make a dime off of competitive Counter-Strike. He loves the game, and that's why that fan base is so strong, and that's why the player numbers are still going up, and that's what Fortnite's missing.
On that note of Psalm leaving to pursue Valorant, I want to briefly discuss my perspective on Valorant and how I think it will affect Fortnite going forward. To summarize quickly, I think the game looks amazing. A CSGO, Rainbow Six Siege-like game with a hint of Overwatch is a perfect combination to corner the Counter-Strike market while adding in some flavor to attract the lesser hardcore FPS fans as well. I'm personally not a huge fan of CSGO, but the addition of heroes and abilities to a tactical shooter really piques my interest. If you don't know, I actually opened up a second channel where I've been posting videos covering Valorant, so if you have any interest in supporting, please check out the link in the description below. That said, I have every intention to continue creating content for Fortnite here on my main channel. While Valorant does look amazing, and I have no doubt in my mind it will grow to be an incredible esport, I don't actually think the success of the game will impact Fortnite at all. Sure, some of the Fortnite player base might move over to Valorant, but at the end of the day, the two games are vastly different, and I personally don't believe that there is a lot of overlapping interests. The death of Fortnite will be at the hands of Epic Games, which leads me to my main talking point: what can be done to save Fortnite? In order for me to explain how Epic could save Fortnite, I firstly need to explain the evolution of the game and its players. During the glory days of Fortnite, the game was viewed as the ultimate experience for casual players, streamers, and competitive players alike, but over time the game grew more and more competitive. From the addition of Playground and Creative to skill-based matchmaking and the removal of Siphon from public matches, the Fortnite player base has seen an insane shift in what it means to be a Fortnite player. In my personal opinion, the casual days of Fortnite are long gone, and what's left is a truly competitive game void of the developer support needed to push the game as a premier esport. The game is dying because the developers failed to keep the game casual enough for everyone to enjoy, or be willing to evolve towards a competitively focused development philosophy. To put it simply, Fortnite has very little room for the game not to be balanced top-down with competitive in mind. Items like C4, heavy snipers, overpowered grenades, and more have time and time again ruined the competitive core mechanics of the game, allowing for gimmicks to shine through the meta, creating resentment in the hearts of the player base. Epic Games needs to embrace Fortnite as an esport, as a competitive title, split the balance between casual and competitive, and completely rework Arena into a full-fledged competitive ranking system. It's time they swallow their pride and accept that their original philosophy simply didn't work, accept their mistakes, and move forward. Now, I could go on and on about the issues in Fortnite, but you know what? Let's just name 10. Number 1, Epic Games does not communicate with the community at all. There are no patch notes. Number 2, Epic doesn't properly balance the game for competitive. Number 3, cash cups are terrible and they're not competitive. Number 4, public games were ruined by skill-based matchmaking and the removal of Siphon. Number 5, Fortnite esports is run too casually. Players cheat, the competitive scene is immature, and it mostly goes unchecked. Number 6, Epic Games doesn't truly reward competitive by splitting the prize pools across multiple platforms. Number 7, the game's performance is terrible. Everyone lags, hitches, or in general has terrible FPS. Number 8, there is no true ranking system, leaving the player base feeling bored with nothing to grind for. Number 9, Fortnite is terribly ping reliant, making the overall experience frustrating for players with higher ping. And number 10, Epic Games is either too stubborn or too stupid to fix anything. The reality is that Fortnite is dying, and it's up to Epic to decide if they want to save the game or let it fade. Either way, it will be a long road to redemption or a long road to the game's inevitable demise. Now, I want to pass it to you with the question of the day. Not can, but will Epic save Fortnite? Do you agree with me on a lot of these issues? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I love Fortnite. I'm personally not going anywhere as far as content is concerned, but I've mostly quit the game quite a while ago. I don't play Fortnite like I used to, and I dream of a ranked mode that I could just grind all day in pursuit of reaching the top of the leaderboards, but instead my account sits in Champion League, never to be touched again. Luckily, I do hold the same passion for the competitive scene, so the content must go on. Again, if you have any interest in checking out the new channel I did start, Krashy on Valorant, do check out the link in the description below. I'm going to be covering everything from like instructional content to VOD reviews to just breaking down the game and giving my opinions as always, that said, if you enjoy the content, please drop a like on the video and subscribe to support the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it again, and I'll see you on the next video.
Do you feel your bones start to shake? Do you feel the earthquake? Do you feel